Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a new StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm video. Now I know what you're thinking, judging by the title of this video, is that Lowko uses drugs? What? No. Guys, no. This is a game that I played last week's Tuesday, and I actually just got home from the hospital. I actually got a operation done last week Tuesday on my ear, so I had like full anesthetics and all that kind of awesomeness. But I didn't need to stay over for the night. Actually, I wasn't completely sure when I went over there whether or not I needed to stay over for the night. However, they did put me down completely under anesthetics and all that. Is that what you call it? Anesthetics? I think that's what you call it. Anyway, they did put me to sleep completely. And I was allowed to go home a couple of hours after the actual operation was finished. Now, when I got home, what most people would do when they're sick is actually sleep, right? Well, what I was really in the mood for at that moment in time, with my head being all drowsy and me feeling absolutely terrible, I was in a ridiculous StarCraft mood. So that's the reason why the title of this video is what it is, and why I'm also you know, chatting versus this guy right now, explaining that I'm actually sick in a second. But when I was playing this game, I still remember everything was basically just completely in slow motion, because I was just awake for a couple of hours again. I was not allowed to drive myself at home. I was not allowed to participate in like the traffic and all that kind of awesomeness. I wasn't even allowed to like eat properly yet, but I really wanted to play some StarCraft. So here we go, guys. Actually, let's put it on my vision. This is a Zerg vs Zerg that I played last Tuesday, as I already mentioned. Well, last week's Tuesday, that is. And you know, like I mentioned, I want to be a little bit in a quicker kind of game, because I'm really not in a mood to keep my head in a really long-term macro game. So I'm gonna play a little bit more cheesy in this game. And I'm basically right now in the biggest I don't give a fuck mood. Like, I literally give zero fucks about my ladder points, even less than I usually do. And I just want to play some games and just have some fun. So what I decided to do, even though this is one of the more risky maps to actually go for a hatchery first on, I decided to go for a hatchery, into a gas geyser, into a spawning pool. Now, what I'm gonna do is actually a little bit of a timing attack with Zerglings. There you actually can see me putting 4 drones on gas, not realizing that until a couple seconds later. So, little sloppy mistakes like that. Just can actually obviously see that I'm not completely with my head in the game. Either way, by the way, in case of anyone wondering, I'm actually feeling awesome right now again, so everything went fine, no worries. I'm gonna get a little bit cheesy in this game. I actually want to go for a bit of a Zergling cheese with double queens where I both do an inject, because the gas timing that I actually went for will line up with the metabolic boost upgrade. Now, the metabolic boost upgrade is obviously Zergling speed, but it will finish right after my first bunch of Zerglings will get spawned. Now, you will see that shortly, but going for a gas geyser before the spawning pool gives you this advantage. And this actually results into an extremely sloppy play, as we will see very, very shortly, where I actually make a ton of silly little mistakes that I don't really need to make, and where my APM is not nearly as high as it's really supposed to be. Now, my opponent, considering what I just scouted, is going for something pretty similar. I saw his spawning pool being built. I saw he also went for a hatch first. So I decide, okay, I can go through with this little push that I keep in mind, or that I have in mind rather, and I can go for my Baneling Nest. So there we saw my Baneling Nest going down already. Gonna put back my Overlords just a little tiny bit in case of his queens moving out a bit too far. It's also always very, very annoying to lose Overlords early on, especially if you're playing or are planning to go for a little bit of a timing push. So what I'm deciding to do right now is wait for these first larvae to pop off out of these queens. I have another Overlord in production right now, and very, very shortly I will start making a ton of Zerglings. Now, as you can see, my Zergling speed is actually about to be finished, and yeah, my opponent actually scouts this right now, and I actually get quite lucky right here, because he decides to send his Overlord in a little tiny bit too far. Now, this is actually a big deal right now, because killing this Overlord right here will actually supply block him. Besides that, he will also not really have vision of my Zerglings moving across the map in a little bit. So here we go, gonna start moving them across the map. I already have other injects coming in. I also have an Overlord in production right now. That's actually late. Lowko, why the fuck are you being supply blocked right now at the 44 supply mark? That is just bad, but I'm gonna morph a bunch of Banelings in right now, and as soon as this Overlord finishes, I'm gonna try and make as many Lings as I possibly can right now. His Ling speed also finished up, so we're gonna have some Ling Baneling versus Ling Baneling action, or at least faced Link Baneling versus Zergling action. Now he decides to go for a counterattack. Interesting move right now because I have more and more units coming at home as well. What I decide to do is actually just defend at home while using my main army to actually try and do as much damage as I possibly can to my opponent right now. Gonna morph a couple of defensive Banelings at home right now as well, while dealing enormous amounts of damage. So here we go, nice Baneling detonations in the middle of his mineral line, meaning that I basically have a huge income advantage right now. As you can see, 25 versus 3 Harvesters, which means that just the longer I manage to hold on right here, the easier it will be becoming. But I need to actually manage to somehow, some way hold on to this Zerglings that he has in my main base right now. Now I do decide to go for the counterattack with my Zerglings that I still have on his side of the map as well. Not deciding to send them home, just trying to do whatever damage I can do. And I know, okay, he basically doesn't have any units anymore. I managed to kill the last 3 drones right now as well. So he is basically as good as that as long as I manage to hold on. So I'm gonna decide to morph a couple of Banes at home just for defensive purposes. And as you can see, my little timing push right here actually was worth the risk by going for a gas before the spawning pool. So if you want to be messing around with cool strategies in ZVZ, going for a 15 hatch, a 17 gas geyser into a 16 spawning pool is actually a ton of fun, because it opens up, you know, to little timing attacks like this. So if you haven't tried that yet, keep in mind you might just die to early spawning pools, but it is definitely a ton of fun to mess around with and, you know, to just try and kill your opponent in quick, easy games. So GG is cool. Want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome to a new StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm video. Today we're gonna be discussing a pretty difficult build order for Zerg versus Protoss. This is a build order that